With a dazzling prototype that has created buzz on the tennis courts, the Wilson Clash 100 gets a full global playtest from the playtesters at Tennis Warehouse Europe, and Tennis Only. Debuting with clean and modern cosmetics, the Wilson Clash 100 is loaded with new technologies. In the frame, Free Flex technology allows the racket to bend with any swing style, thanks to a unique carbon mapping for ultimate control and ball pocketing. Stable Smart frame geometry, which Wilson created through digital simulation, provides excellent power and stability. Additionally, the racket features a 100 square inch head size and a 16 by 19 string pattern. First up, we have Jason. Now, your current racket choice is the Babolat Pure Strike 1619. What were your thoughts on this new Clash 100?
Well, this is certainly the most unique playing Wilson racket I've tested since the Spin Effect rackets from about 5 years ago. It just feels really flexible, but it doesn't lose the feel. It still feels great feedback, and it doesn't feel too soft or mushy. On my ground strokes, I thought it was amazing. It's super maneuverable. I was getting more power and more spin with this racket than with my Pure Strike 1619, and this is 0.4 ounces lighter, so that was great to see. I did notice that the launch angle on this racket tended to be a little bit high, which made it easy to hit with depth. But at the same time, it made the string bed a little bit erratic, and I kind of to launch the ball a little bit at times. I would say that the biggest downfall for this racket is up at net. It's just the swing weight is so low, and the static weight is right around 11 ounces that it tends to get pushed around a little bit, especially with off-center hits. So I definitely play with some weight there. But overall, really fun play test for me. Is the racket perfect? No. It's a little bit too light, I think, for advanced, intermediate to advanced players. But it's definitely the best Wilson racket I've tested in a long time.
I also play tested the Clash 100, and it was the first racket I picked up after a short break from tennis, and I was really impressed with how it played. The standout feature for me was the feel. It's a very unique feel, something I haven't felt before. Kind of hard to describe, but it's a very flexible feel, but I never felt disconnected from the ball, and it's definitely one of my favorite playing or feeling Wilson rackets. I also was impressed with the power levels. It definitely has more power than my racket of choice, and it showed an increase of miles per hour on both my ground strokes and my serves, which gave me a couple extra free points. Up at net, I was actually pretty impressed with how it volleyed. I thought I could hit a variety of volleys, whether I wanted to punch the volley back deep, or I could even soften my hands and hit a shorter drop volley, which is not normally my strength. I did have a small adjustment when I was playing points. Like Jason said, there's a couple times the string bed was a little erratic, and so I was launching the ball a little bit deep, but once I made a couple tweaks to my game, those tended to become less and less. I also thought I could add a little bit more weight to the racket, give it a little bit more stability. Overall though, I was really impressed with how this racket played, and I was a really big fan of that Dazzle cosmetic. We are now going to head over to Australia, where playtesters Marco and Hayden from our sister company Tennis Only hit the courts with the Clash 100. Marco, how did this racket work out for your aggressive game style?
Thanks, Brett. I was just on this playtest, and right from the outset I noticed that damp, muted feel that came with this racket. It took a little bit of getting used to, but I really actually did enjoy that unique feel that this racket gave. The stability is unlike any other racket I've ever played with. I could hit on off-center shots even when I was making contact pretty close to the frame, which happened more often than I would have liked. I was really noticing that it was a really dampened feel still, and I didn't actually feel like I was making an off-center contact. I noticed when I swung harder at low balls especially, I really could generate the spin I wanted. This was more so with the Clash Tour for me. We hit these two alongside each other for a little bit, the Clash and the Clash Tour, and I found that heavier Clash Tour just gave me a little bit more on my shots, a little bit more plow through, and the ball was doing a little bit more for me. On the flip side of that, the Clash 100 I noticed more maneuverable for me, and I got a lot faster racket head speed, which was welcomed on getting the racket low and undershots, and also snapping into position on returns. Overall, really like the unique feel of this racket. I think it's awesome how Wilson have tried something different, and I suggest everyone out there tries this racket. Hayden, you were also on this playtest. How did you find the Wilson Clash 100?
Yeah, thanks Marco. Cracking day here in Perth. Absolute pleasure playing on the grass courts this morning. And this racket came from Wilson with really hyped up that it had a unique, different feel, and I agree with them on that. It had a very different feel to any other racket. A little hard to describe exactly what that different feel was, even though that's kind of my job on this playtest, to try to describe it. But it had kind of a popping feel when you hit the ball, a bit like a pop gun going off. When you hit it right in the middle, it made a unique sound. So I'll try to go through and describe how it felt for me on each of the particular shots. Starting off with the groundies, the thing that I found that stood out most was the control, particularly on my backhand, which I hit a little flatter than I do my forehand. I found the control that I got on it was excellent, particularly on the backhand down the line. My forehand I hit with a little bit more whip. I got an extreme western forehand, so I like to get a lot of top spin. I found it lacked a little bit in the spin department for me, but if you don't have a semi-western grip, a little bit more of a conventional grip, then I think you'll really enjoy the control that this racket offers off the ground. Volleys was the highlight for me. Very crisp, very solid feel at the net. Made me want to come in and hit more volleys, particularly on the backhand volley. So really enjoyed it up at net. Serves had a good traditional feel on the serve. Again, if you hit a flat serve, particularly down the middle, and you get it right out of the middle, the sound that comes off the racket is unique. So overall, really enjoyed this playtest. 100% worth a demo. I think the first 10 shots you hit with this, you'll be like, whoa, that is a little different. So overall, really good feel. Get out and playtest this one.
Let's head over to Germany, where the playtesters at Tennis Warehouse Europe tested this racket out on the indoor courts. Sophia, how do you find the Wilson Clash 100?
Thanks, Marco. Yeah, I have to say that I was very impressed with the Clash. Right from the beginning, it feels very different from any other rackets. It feels super comfortable, and yet you have a really great feel over the ball. My foremost favorite shot with the Clash was definitely my backhand slice. I had a really good control of the shot, a great feel, super comfortable, and I didn't feel this kind of confidence in this shot with any other racket I played with. It really gave me that wow sensation. The racket continues to be very stable on the baseline. I had no issues going under the balls with the racket head. It moved very easily. To be honest, I was a bit nervous about the 100 square inch head size of the racket, only because it's generally not really in my wheelhouse. But the very headlight nature of the racket, it's actually 10-point headlight, it made it feel really good, and maneuverability was really not a challenge for me. Personally, I would add about 5 more grams to the racket just to make it D1 for me. But overall, my general conclusion would be that the hype is definitely real with this one. Now, Anthony, I know that you were very excited to try this racket. Was it indeed revolutionary for you?
I never had this feeling before with the racket. The Clash is so special, so comfortable, easy to play and maneuverable, as it's almost the most flexible racket on the market with 57 RA. You have the feeling to play with a wooden racket. It gives you a lot of sensation with every shot, and particularly at the net. On the ground stroke, I cannot say that the Clash is super powerful, but it gives you the possibility to do what you want with the ball. I was surprised also when I wanted to finish the point, especially on my backhand, by the speed developed. And it's like the racket adapts itself to your needs. The Clash can generate also a huge amount of spin and crazy angles on the cross-court shots. The only downside I can find is that it doesn't forgive when you hit the ball outside of a sweet spot. As a conclusion, I can say that the more I play with a racket, the more I like it.
We strung up the Wilson Clash 100 with Lockzone Alu Power 16L at 52 pounds. For more information on this racket or any others, please be sure to check us out at tenniswarehouse.com, tenniswarehouseeurope.com or tennisonly.com.au.